Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. One winner, 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Breakfast? Maybe I should have had breakfast. A little brekkie could be good for me. No, stay focused. Speed. I'm faster than fast, quicker than quick. I am lightning.
Hey, Lightning, you ready?
I gotta say it.
What is going on, guys? Today's topic is Speed 101, how to generate speed on a wave, where to do it, and all the essentials you need to know to start being able to generate speed on your own, backside and front side. Let's get into it. So in the first part of this video, I'm going to introduce you to a little visualization exercise that really helped me picture what speed generation should look like. Essentially, speed generation, picture it like a slinky that is being dropped down the stairs, right? At first this might sound a bit goofy, but trust me when I say it helps in picturing the body mechanics and physics behind generating speed on a surfboard. When you drop the slinky down the stairs, it compresses and then it extends, right? It's demonstrating how stored energy can be converted into motion and speed. Like in some more physics terminology, it converts gravitational potential energy into kinetic energy as it falls. This is essentially what you're doing on a surfboard when you're generating. When you're compressed on a wave, you're storing all of that potential energy, like just like the spring, and then once you extend your body, all of that stored energy is being released, which in the wave terminology is going to allow you to generate speed, and it pushes all of that kinetic energy into allowing you to accelerate down the wave. So that's my explanation of how at least I visualize it, and I hope that made sense to you. Moving on to some live examples, we're going to look at John's approach and some other professional surfers on how they generate speed. The first thing to note is his compression. Just like the spring, his knees are literally to his chest, so he is staying as compressed as he can, high up on the wave, with an arched back, and his shoulders are low, and all his upper body and lower body components are pretty tightly knit together for the start of the pump, right? Also, an additional point is his foot placement. The back foot should be placed at the very end of the surfboard on your traction pad, at the very end. So you should have all three fins engaged so that your foot is quite literally like riding on top of all of those three fins, while your front foot is centered on the middle of your surfboard, so that just keeps all of your balance together. And here's the extension part of the pump. So this is the second part. All of his body of components, compared to what we just saw in the previous frame, is now fully extended. His legs, his upper body, all of these body components are fully extended now, just like the movement of the spring mentioned back in the video, enabling him to accelerate and generate speed, simply because in the previous frame we saw him in the compression state where all of that potentially stored energy was carried out, and through the extension all of this energy was transferred, and simply by extending the upper body and lower body he will accelerate, as we can see later in the other frames. We're also briefly going to cover up some other surfers' generation of speed, just analyzing how they all have this similar two-step flow for generation of speed. Here's the extension, then they bring the board up the face of the wave while compressing, extend, and then compress again. Now, Gabriel Medina is a regular footed surfer, so this will be a backside illustration, but the technique does stay the same. I want you to realize that regardless if you are surfing frontside or backside, the two-step flow still goes the same way. Notice how he is still extending fully here and then compresses again, brings the knees up. So we just saw how even on backside, the body mechanics still remain the same. Here's Joel Parkinson. He's going to demonstrate again how the technique still remains the same even on frontside. Once again, fully extended, and then brings his knees up to his chest extends again, and they just accelerate. This is how it works. All right, in this next section of the video, we're going to cover how to exactly identify the sections where you will be able to generate speed. Because now we've just covered on how to exactly do that technique, we now need to look for the sections that we want to approach and be able to generate speed on so that we can ride the wave to its potential. Ideally, the sections we want to be looking out for when wanting to generate speed is the wall must be steep enough for us to pump off the wave and carry a lot of speed. What does this look like? Here's an example. The reason why generating speed on these types of walls, for instance, this very steep wall here, is so ideal is because you will carry out the most amount of speed regardless. Like pumping on a steep wall of a wave will indefinitely carry out so much more speed than if you were to be pumping on a wall that has a flat and sloppy face. This type of wall is going to give you the ability to carry out so much speed so that you can either punt a crazy air at the end of the wave or just carry out a critical maneuver, which is what we want to be achieving in the majority of our surf sessions. So the other scenario where you want to be searching for speed on a wave is when the wave goes flat. So this looks something like this. Now the reason you want to be searching for speed is because you don't really have another choice. Instantly, when the wave goes flat, that means there's less energy being pushed out, and if you do not remain at the same speed or faster than the wave, you will stall and you're gonna either wipe out or just simply fall out of the wave, which we don't want to do. Now these types of walls mainly only appear when the swell is really small, and it's either the swell is really small or the sandbank is really deep so that there's not much depth to the wave, if that makes sense. And learning this technique on speed generation, especially in smaller conditions, will help you maximize your sessions without a doubt. So I'd recommend generating speed either when the wave goes really flat and you're sort of forced to generate speed so you can stay on the wave, and the other time you want to be generating speed is when the wall becomes really steep so that you actually maximize the accelerating part so that you can carry out an insane maneuver at the end of the wave, because the more speed you have when you're surfing, the more radical and more rail you can actually end up putting on the board without necessarily falling as easily. Because the slower you are when you're surfing, it makes it a lot easier to fall off the board because there's less momentum, right? Momentum acts like a stabilizing force. So the faster you go, the more easy it is for you to remain balanced on your board, and vice versa. When you're going slower, it also becomes easier to fall off your board. So ideally, you want to be carrying out speed and generating speed as much as you can, so you are almost always having balance on your board and you're not falling off. So everybody, that is what I have to give you for my first video on speed generation. I hope you found some of these tips helpful. Try some of these out the next time you go surfing, and go surfing even when you don't feel like it.